Chapter 131. Releasing the Dragons. The locusts were spreading out to surround the foothill god city. In the due north, a large locust gathering place, there was a valley burning with flames at the moment. Gu Hai fixed his eyes on it, but saw that in the center of the flames, there was a red-clothed man figure standing at the moment, except that the man's head was not a human head, but the head of a huge locust. It was clearly the king of this locust army. Gu Hai and his party looked down from the clouds. The king of the locusts seemed to sense something, and steeply, he turned his head to look high into the sky. Oh no, it's been discovered. Gu Chen's face changed. Charged towards the foothill god city gate, Gu Hai called out. Boom! The flying boat swooped down towards the foothill god city gate with a roar. Huang Fu Chouch, this is Gu Hai, open the door. Gu Hai let out a loud shout that boomed out to the full god city below. Roar! The locust king pointed at Gu Hai's flying boat. Boom! The rolling locust army charged towards the flying boat. But the flying boat was a flying boat after all. It was too fast, and in the blink of an eye, it had already reached the bottom. The formation of the flying boat opened, and as it passed along the way, it blasted through a large number of locusts. The locusts exploded into countless numbers. The flying boat also arrived at the gate. Boom! The gate also opened at the right time, crashing through a large number of locusts. The white cloud flying boat blasted its way in. Quong! The city gates rumbled and closed again. A roaring sound came from outside. Quick, come and help me hold it. The locust army went crazy and ran the city gates. We can't let them in. A large number of city generals roared. The locusts that broke in just now also attacked this guarding generals. Boom! Finally, the gates closed tightly under the full force of several four-shippers. The locusts that came in with the flying boats also met with the most destructive blows from the city generals and were quickly wiped out. Who are you? Gu Hai put away the flying boat and looked at the generals in front of him, who were in a sorry state. Gu, Mergu, one of the guarding generals at the head, saw Gu Hai, still with a sad face, and respectfully said, Oh, I know you. Last time, when you went with me and Huang Fu Chouch to exterminate the Zhengjin sect, there was you. Gu Hai instantly recognized the general in front of him. Yes, it is exactly me, that general said bitterly. All around, everyone showed sorrowful faces. Where's Huang Fu Chouch? What's going on here? These locusts, can't deal with them. Gu Hai frowned. Mr. Gu, come with me. I'll take Mr. to see the emperor, that general said bitterly. Gu Hai nodded and directly allowed that general to board the flying boat, heading towards the imperial palace in the city. The general's sad face continued. What's wrong? What happened? This locust, isn't Huang Fu Chouch going to make a move? Where's the foothill god? Gu Hai frowned. The faux stone god has perished. Your Majesty too. That general said bitterly. Gu Hai raised an eyebrow and stopped asking, as the flying boat quickly brought the crowd to the palace. As if knowing that Gu Hai was coming, the generals in the palace saw Gu Hai and respectfully introduced the flying boat outside of one of the palace's halls. The civil and military officials anxiously waited outside the hall. Gu, Mergu, the emperor, has been waiting for a long time. Some officials that Gu Hai was familiar with immediately greeted him. Gu Hai frowned slightly and nodded, letting Gu Chen lead the others to wait outside. Gu Hai, however, was alone, introduced into the grand hall by a group of officials. In the middle of the grand hall, ice cubes were currently placed all over the place, and in the middle of an ice pool in the center, Huang Fu Chouch was sitting inside with his head cloaked and weak. A burst of fire emanating from his body, constantly melting the ice cubes, and the ice cubes in the pool were constantly transforming. Your Majesty, Mergu, Gu has arrived, the guiding official respectfully said. In the middle of the ice pool, Huang Fu Chouch opened his eyes. A trace of bitterness flashed in his eyes. Gu Hai, you're finally here. Mr. Huang Fu, you. What's wrong with you? Gu Hai was stunned. Cough, cough, cough. Mr. Gu, the foothill god perished. This is what the foothill god asked me to give you before he died. Huang Fu Chouch took out a jade box and handed it out. Gu Hai took the jade box and revealed a hint of doubt. Gently opening it, buzz. A steep stream of brilliant brown light erupted from the box. This is, Gu Hai revealed a hint of surprise. The god of the Foothill Stone Man clan, the god of earth. The Foothill Stone god asked me to give it to you before he died. Please avenge him. And also, shelter the Foothill Stone Man clan, Huang Fu Chouch said bitterly. God of the earth system. Gu Hai raised an eyebrow. The faux stone god knows that you need it. Here, I won't be able to use it, so absorb it quickly. I'll be waiting for you, Huang Fu Chouch said bitterly. Gu Hai frowned and looked at Huang Fu Chouch. Huang Fu Chouch was incredibly weak and looked at Gu Hai expectantly. Good. Gu Hai nodded and didn't say anything more, only that his heart sank. He probed his hand to grab the earth god in the box. The moment the earth god touched Gu Hai's palm, it drilled into Gu Hai's body, but this time, Gu Hai didn't resist. The false stone god was dead, but this earth system god wasn't dead yet, like the original Love Flower Grandmother's Wood system god. It still had a certain level of consciousness, and didn't need Gu Hai to refine it. Instead, it took the initiative to help Gu Hai transform his spleen. Buzz. Rolling earth divine power bombarded Gu Hai's spleen. Gu Hai sat up on his knees. His mind sunk into his body, and his spleen steeply glowed with an earth-brown color, echoing the golden lungs, green liver, and blue kidneys in general. The earth god surged in and blasted and pounded the spleen. Boom! The spleen orifice opened with a roar. In an instant, brown divine energy filled the spleen orifice. Gu Hai sat for 2 hours, and after 2 hours a cyclone formed steeply in the spleen orifice, and the spleen orifice formed a vast brown earth god palace. Buzz! Gu Hai's eyes opened, and a stream of chi bulged out around him. 8th level of the Jindan realm, spleen orifice open, Gu Hai said in a deep voice. Although his cultivation had broken through, however, Gu Hai couldn't smile. It's good that you were able to break through. Alas, Huang Fu Chouch sighed slightly. Ma Huang Fu, what exactly happened earlier? Gu Hai stared at Huang Fu Chouch. Huang Fu Chouch said with a slight pang of bitterness, Mr. Gu, you surmised correctly. In the past, the Genjin sect, the Greedy Wolf sect, and the Great Brilliant Dynasty were all the secret subordinates of King Liu Yang, and the Genjin sect was destroyed by us. But during the time you were away, the Greedy Wolf sect and the Great Brilliant Dynasty sent experts to try to exterminate my divine Fuxi. The false stone god perished as a result. Oh, Gu Hai raised an eyebrow. It was Liu Yong who gave the order. Heh, I exterminated his Gungjin sect, and he wanted to retaliate against me by having experts from the Great Brilliant Dynasty and the Greedy Wolf sect come. The Lushi god was tricked, so, Huang Fu Chouch explained. Gu Hai frowned slightly. The locusts outside are the state beasts of the Great Brilliant Imperial Dynasty, the Fire Locust clan. Not long ago, the people from the Greedy Wolf sect, as well as the Great Brilliant Emperor withdrew, leaving only the Fire Locust god with the Fire Locust clan to stay behind and to exterminate my False Stone God City, which is what you are seeing today. Huang Fu Chouch smiled bitterly. Fire Locust God. Gu Hai frowned slightly. Alas, I don't know why the Greedy Wolf sect and Emperor Great Brilliance withdrew, but leaving the Fire Locust clan behind is enough. I am poisoned now. I am not its opponent at all, and am in critical condition. So, that's why I had no choice but to pass the kingdom to you, hoping to lure you here, to save this city of my subjects. Huang Fu Chouch said bitterly. What's wrong with you? Gu Hai looked at Huang Fu Chouch worriedly. I've been hit by the Fire Locust poison. It's the poison of that Fire Locust god out there, My entire body's strength is nourishing the fire poison until it drains all of my strength and kills me, Huang Fu Chaoj said bitterly. How can I save you? Gu Hai said worriedly. Huang Fu Chaoj smiled bitterly. There's no need to save me. Save my subjects first. Now the energy of the city guard formation is going to be gnawed clean by the Fire Locust clan. It's about to break through the city, and once it does, these locusts are going to eat everything in the city. Gu Hai nodded and said, I understand. Now, I need the entire city to cooperate with me. I've already explained it. Go out and give the order. The city defense formation, it will last for another 10 days at most, Huang Fu Chaoj worried. 10 days? It won't take. Gu Hai shook his head. Stepping forward, he walked out of the Grand Hall. Outside the Great Hall, the group of ministers with worry respectfully bowed to Gu Hai. Greetings to Mr. Gu. The Emperor has ordered that everything is at Mr. Gu's disposal. I want spirit stones. Immediately to the people of the whole city, collect spirit stones, all on record, to be in the coming day. And then return to the people. I need spirit stones to set up the array. Need countless spirit stones, the more the better. Quick, 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 Gu Hai commanded. Yes. The crowd of officials answered. The officials and people of the entire city had long since become ants on a hot pan, in the midst of waiting anxiously, because once the city broke, they would die immediately. It wasn't that the four directions of the city didn't have reinforcements, however. The previous reinforcements that arrived were all eaten by the locusts. And when the locusts crossed the border, not an inch of grass would grow. The big formation was also going to be almost eaten. And if nothing else was done, the whole city was going to be finished. This was the entire Fire Locust clan. All the subjects were terrified. And now that there was an order, it was as if they had found their backbone. Gu Hai collected spirit stones, and the people gave generously. In the face of death, what's the use of having more spirit stones? In just one day, mountains of spirit stones piled up. Cough, cough, cough. Mergu, you need spirit stones to set up a formation, but no one can get out. Who can set up a formation? Huang Fu Chaoj worried. I'm going to release the Earth Dragon Vein. I hope you don't mind. Gu Hai looked at Huang Fu Chaoj. Cough, cough, cough. Don't mind, you release it. I'll collect my Earth Dragon Vein. I'm poisoned now. I can't move easily. Everything depends on you, Huang Fu Chaoj said bitterly. Gu Hai nodded. Outside, the Fire Locust god coldly looked at the foothill god city, an icy disdain flashing in his eyes. Although the Fire Locust clan wasn't as good as some of the big demon clans, but all along the way, it hadn't encountered any opponents. Any enemy, all eat and reproduce super fast. It doesn't matter if they die. Soon there will be a steady stream of Fire Locust clanborn. Speed up the progress. Break the Fall God city for me. Everything in the city, let it be devoured, the Fire Locust god coldly said. Buzz, countless locusts flapped their wings and surged towards the city. On the third day, when Gu Hai entered the city, a loud dragon roar sounded. However, the place of the imperial palace was seen to be piled up with rolling spirit stones, and suddenly, it was swallowed in one gulp by a giant golden dragon silhouette. A huge golden dragon that seemed to be tens of thousands of miles long suddenly plunged headfirst into the earth. It melded with the earth and rose, rumble. Throughout the entire Fall God city, the earth was in a general earthquake. A mountain peak rose up, and a mountain peak sank and collapsed. Gu Hai held the Heavenly Zhen divine seal in his hand, his eyes slightly closed, as if he was commanding this tens of thousands of miles of giant dragons released from the Heavenly Zhen divine seal. Ong! The dragon's roar resounded through the heavens and earth as the Great Han Dynasty's Earth Dragon Vein was released by Gu Hai. The Earth Dragon Vein roared into the earth with a great joy in its long whine.